Welcome everyone. Welcome on this first webinar for International Coaching Week powered by ICF Professional Coaches. We are very happy to welcome you all today. We are having a huge crowd with us. It's just amazing. My name is Isabel Maas. I am a regional development manager for ICF Professional Coaches based in Brussels, Belgium, and taking care of Europe, Middle East, and Africa. I'm very happy today to present our panelists and facilitators. So let me start with our three panelists. Today we have Canan Karacan. Canan has a bachelor degree in arts and psychology. She has an extended experience as HR director in the field of cosmetics for more than 30 years. Canan started her career at L'Oreal in 2013 and was promoted to the position of Global People Development and Learning Director in 2017. She's a professional coach herself and an ACC accredited coach by the ICF since 2016. Welcome, Canan. Thanks for being with us. We also have today Lieutenant Alya Waheed Alsarkal. Lieutenant Alya Waheed Alsarkal is the Director of Learning Branch at the HR Department of Sharjah Police Headquarters in the United Arab Emirates. Alya created a positive thinking initiative to create a coaching culture in Sharjah Police, starting with preparing and qualifying the first batch of certified coaches and increasing the happiness KPI at Sharjah Police. In addition, Alya aims to get the ACC credential and help other police officers to get credentialed, which will improve the well-being of Sharjah Police employees and others. Thank you and welcome, Lieutenant Alya. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. We also have Rosarii Mannion. Rosarii is a senior experienced HR director, having held key roles most recently when she worked at the National HR Director in Ireland's largest employer, the Health Service Executive, with 135,000 employees. Throughout her career, she's held a number of senior leadership roles. She was awarded ICF Ireland Business and Executive Coach of the Year in 2017. And in 2018, she was awarded the Ireland HR Leader of the Year. Rosarii is a PCC certified coach and also a director on the ICF Professional Coaches Board. I'm also very happy to introduce you to our two co-facilitators of the day. We have with us Catherine Tanneau. Catherine is the chair of the ICF Professional Coaches Board, and she will act as the co-facilitator with Linda McLoughlin, who is our vice chair of the ICF Professional Coaches Board as well. So Catherine is an MCC Master Certified Coach by the ICF. She's an HEC professor, and she's the founder of an ICF accredited coaching program and as well the co-author of several books, of which a leadership book on situational intelligence and a book on coaching for leaders. Linda is an MCC award-winning international coach and a mentor specialized in coach training, leadership development, executive education, managing change, gender intelligence, and team building. She has served as a member of a faculty at the Business School of the American University of Sharjah for 6 years. She's based in the Middle East, and she provides facilitation, executive education, and coaching to large state enterprise. So Catherine, Linda, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Isabel. Thank you all for joining us for this first webinar of the pre-launch of International Coaching Week. It is a very strategic topic for all of us, as it is very important for organizations, for leaders, for HR, and for coaches. We will explore together with our panelists, and I thank them all, the value of coaching for HR and leaders and how coaching skills can bring value to organization in terms of performance, engagement, and well-being. A few opening remarks just to share with you. The latest study done by ICF, the biggest study in coaching world, is showing that not only business coaching is becoming the main area of coaching, around 65% of the coaching is in business coaching, but also we are observing managers and leaders using coaching skills as a growing tendency. The growth has been more than 40% in the past 5 years. And now they are representing a quarter of the coach practitioners among ICF coaching members and credentialed coach. And we are seeing this tendency growing and expecting to grow in the future. So let's explore together with our panelists why and how such coaching programs can bring value in organization and what could be the lessons learned for you that are listening to us. So first question for our panelists, and maybe Rosarii, you can you can start. Why your organization, Health Service Executive from Ireland, has decided to launch a coaching program, and what kind of program did you launch?
Thank you very much, Catherine, and welcome everyone. Such a joy to be here with you all this afternoon. I'm coming live from the Northeast in Ireland. Just going to your question, Catherine, in 2011, there had been money available from the EU, the European Union, to look at investments in Ireland, particularly because of the conflicts, the troubles between Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland. And this seed funding came through, and two organisations in the south, which was then the Northeastern Health Board and the Northwestern Health Board, prior to the establishment of the HSE, partnered with two organisations in Northern Ireland. And we put through 20 individuals, senior key influencers, onto this programme. The programme was run by Coaching Development. And I suppose we saw the success that had, if you like, that small laboratory. So following on from that particular initiative, with excellent support from, I know, a very good coaching influencer in Ireland, Alva Harrington, worked with us on mentoring. I see Eilish McKeown online there as well. At that time, Eilish was ICF president in Ireland. So we were able to get all these connections working with us. At the same time, I moved into a national role, the National Director for Ireland's Health Service. So I was able to bring coaching, if you like, and make it a fundamental part with the leadership team of a change initiative, of an OD initiative, in terms of how we were actually going to embed change in the Irish Health Service. So our people strategy, and I would say to anyone on the call, you cannot bring forward coaching as an isolated intervention. And for us, the coaching was part and an integral part of one of our key goals in our people strategy, 2015 to 2018. So we really got all the leaders, if you like. At that time, Eilish had retired, she'd moved on, and Eilish was very ably replaced by a young gentleman, Niall Gogarty. And Niall really grasped this whole area together with a brilliant trainer, Irene Harris, again, who was part of ICF Ireland. And between Irene and Niall, they actually rolled out, if you like, an entire national coach program. I'm probably on the second slide there, guys, if you're looking at the pictures in front of me. Say pictures paint 1,000 words, and they really do. So I'm really there at the people strategy between 2015 and 2018. So Niall and Irene really grasped this initiative. They established the National Coaching Service. We made coaching available for everyone from hire to retire. Coaching was not something that was introduced for poor performers. Coaching was introduced and promoted for our movers, our shakers, our high flyers, our NCHDs, our consultants. Coaching was available regardless of where you were in the organisation. We were just honoured then, because of this massive investment in what we had done around this cultural change programme, to receive the ICF Prism Award. And there we have pictured with your CEO, Magda Mook, Niall, Irene. And we received that in 2017 in Chicago. And that was really a privilege. That added huge momentum to the organisation. By way of context, I should say, the Health Service Executive in Ireland, we employ 120,000 staff. We provide all hospital and community services. There are multiple cultures within the HSE. It's not one single culture, if you like. But we did find that coaching was a cut-across initiative that was welcomed by all sectors, and it really, really was taken up. I have ICF in the bottom right-hand corner, and I would say the partnership, the support that we got from ICF from start to finish in terms of initiating our coaching program, in terms of support, and I would say to colleagues on the call as well, if you go to the ICF website and you look up the ICF competencies, you will see what's required of any employee, what we want to see: trust, building relationships, listening, being present, and particularly in the health service. When I say the health service, we know health services are human services. So really looking at those ICF core competencies will really assist to move towards a coaching initiative. In the little cartoon, if you like, I have down on the bottom, and that really sums it up. But you will see, and this was very much my ethos and philosophy, where and the quote there is, you're going to have to change to fit the system. And the participants are answering back, well, why don't you change so we can fit in? And to me, that speaks to the heart and soul of coaching. We cannot expect people to change to fit into a culture, to fit into a health service, to fit into an organization. We must change to be person-centered, to incorporate people, to allow the entire person come to work, to be supported, to enabled, and support people to exceed. And I've just in the final picture there on the bottom left, I have towards a coaching culture. In an organization like the HSE that employs 120,000 staff, that has multiple subcultures, that has a budget of 20 billion now, I would never be comfortable to say, we have a coaching culture, that's done, that's complete. We're always moving towards a coaching culture. So in summary, why we did this, Catherine, we had the seed funding from the North-South Initiative going back to 2011, 2012. We had our people strategy. We had an incredibly talented, interested, motivated group of internal coaches, which was absolutely critical. We had open access, so anybody could apply for coaching. You didn't have to be at a certain grade or level. We had excellent support and supervision, peer support. We had the reach. We could get into the organization. We had leadership support, relentless follow through, absolutely relentless. This is not a quick fix. This is not something that can be done in 1 year. This is an ongoing process with relentless follow through. And of course, we had the wonderful partners, ICF Ireland, ICF Global, the ICF Global Board. And really, I think that is the prescription that I would recommend in terms of, as I said, moving towards a coaching culture.
Thank you, Rosarii, for this very impressive achievement and ecosystem. It's a bit far beyond the question, but it was very, very impressive. So I would ask Lieutenant Alya maybe to come up with what was the motivation at the police to install and what is the context and what can you say about your own program?
Well, first of all, hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be part of this panel. First of all, I come from the United Arab Emirates, and the United Arab Emirates has the National Strategy of Well-being, Happiness and Well-being 2031. This strategy emphasizes and spots the light of the well-being of the individual, his physical health, his mental health, and his spiritual health. And our part, Sharjah Police, since we are a police environment, we take care of people's safety, people's security. We need to take care also of our employees. So we took this initiative and we made a small initiative in Sharjah Police that's called the Positive Coaching Initiative, which we want to take care of our own employees there by having coaches of our own. And with the help of the ICF coaches, we really made it, and we made the first certified coaching program in Arabic, where we qualified 20 of our officers to become coaches. And therefore, because of our confidentiality and the nature of our work, we need people to be from our own environment, to be coaches, to help others to raise their well-being and their health, not just physically, but physically, mentally, and spiritually. And here come a big role of coaching to help us in that, because it is a new culture in our organization. And with having these batch, we are now spreading the culture of coaching, and we are also helping our colleagues in whatever issues or in whatever goals they want to reach. So in short, this is why we chose coaching in our organization and also to achieve the strategy of our country.
Thank you, Lieutenant Alya. It's really impressive because I'm hearing a lot the word culture, the word well-being, the care. I can sense the care you have for global ecosystem. And I will handle the question to Canan. Why in L'Oréal in 2013, 2014, did you have this vision of training, coaching HR leaders and HR talent managers?
Thank you, Catherine, for the question. And hello, everyone from sunny Paris. So our program is the ICF ACSTH certified training program for our HR leaders, as Catherine mentioned. So let me give you a context, a broader context in a nutshell. In L'Oréal, since the beginning of the company, we have a core principle where we say people quality is more important than process quality. And aligned with this, the first coaching processes started in L'Oréal in early 90s with a few pioneers. And then since 2003, L'Oréal has developed a coaching culture by introducing coaching in most management programs with the conviction that it will spread to their teams, formalizing a policy grounded in coaching association standards, and started to use extensively the external coaches for developing individuals' potentials and their needs. When it comes to HR, within this context, in 2013, the global HR development team identified needs in coaching skills for HR leaders because the need for coaching conversations increased. The need to have conversations by using coaching tools and coaching skills increased everywhere in the organization. A lot of changes has been happening at that time, major transformation. So the role of human resources leaders was becoming more and more strategic. We wanted to keep the people proximity part, which is in our DNA that we do HR at L'Oréal. We needed to upskill them to turn them into trusted partners for business leaders with a high focus on people proximity to better accompany the development of our teams in a world that's becoming more and more complex. So that was in 2013. Now it's even more complex. Finally, we said, this training should be a certified one that could be offered at the same quality all over the world throughout the different cultures to unite our HR teams around a feeling of professionalism, a sense of belonging to a community linked by the same humanist vision of our company. And that was a bold vision. We decided to partner with an ICF accredited provider, Activision Coaching Institute, and to provide an international accreditation worldwide at L'Oréal. It was also the first external certified program. So at L'Oréal, the first external certified program is a coaching program. And for us, what was at stake is to sustain the group's strategy and cultural shift through people proximity and meaningful conversations. To create business performance, leaders have to match people aspirations with business needs and develop people and teams. And for that, HR can really take the lead in making it happen. And of course, I'm sure in many of your organizations it's the same. Today, the coaching posture is a key component of our leadership capabilities model. So our program is ICF ACSTH, 65 hours, 3 modules blended with the supervised practices, spread over 6 months, and a certification process at the end. Since 2014, where we had our first pilot, we have extended the HR community worldwide with high coaching professionalism. Already we had 25 cohorts, more than 350 HR people are trained in 45 countries, including our CHRO and our HR leadership team. I think this is important. And they're all acting internally as coach practitioners, integrating coaching skills into their HR mission to develop people proximity, talent retention, facilitate leadership change, and business transformation. So that's the why of our program.
Thank you, Canan. Thank you, Canan, and all of you have already tackled a bit one of the major questions we have in the chat about the benefits, the impact, the return on investment of such programs. We have seen that you have done extended programs engaging a lot of people in this. So, Linda, I handle you the ball for the next question about the benefits.
Thanks, Catherine, and hello, everybody, and congratulations to our 3 case studies here today. And, you know, what's coming up for me listening to Rosarii and Lieutenant Alya and Canan is really the plasticity, what I call the plasticity of coaching. You know, we've seen 3 very different organizations, a multinational private equity company, governmental, healthcare, different sectors, different geographies, in different languages, for different kind of professions, from police officers to marketers, you know, to doctors and nurses. We have just seen how a coaching culture can work across the sphere. And I would say this is a huge selling point to all of us who are coaches here on this call, that we can, you know, share this knowledge with our clients and just show how applicable building a coaching culture is. And I like that all of you mentioned that your intervention was led by strategy, whether that was an in-house people strategy or in the case of the UAE, a government level, national level strategy. So with that, my question to all of you is, you know, what are the impacts of your coaching program so far, and what have been the benefits to your stakeholders? And I'm sure you all have different and many stakeholders. And maybe for this one, I'll come to Canan first, please.
Sure. This is a key question that we kept receiving from our senior management at the start of this program, because it's an investment. And our vision and objectives were clear since the beginning. We wanted a demanding and rewarding learning path to reinforce HR leaders in their role of trusted advisors, door openers, people champions, and upskilling them to support employees' development and growth. And now looking back, I see, you know, the global pandemic that we are going through right now vividly illustrated the critical human needs aspect. And now it's maybe at the moment not exactly measured this part, but I know our HR leaders relied very much on the coaching skills that they have been building over the last years while going through this crisis. But we are monitoring the ROI and ROE and impact of such a strategic program through quantitative inquiries, but also qualitative ones. And we look at in 3 aspects. But in all of them, I can say a very high return on expectation and a tangible global impact we have measured. The first aspect is on their professional growth. They have improved. We run several surveys for that. They said they've improved their professional people proximity, including feedback, career conversations, and enabling the company transformation. All the cohorts were evaluated externally. On average, the return on expectation has been 94%. 100% of them said they increased self-awareness and self-development. 100% of them said they progressed in their presence and listening skills. And we see these are so important, and they're becoming so important for the role of HR. 95% of them said reinforce their ability to question others, to stimulate their thinking and ideas. You know, there was a shift in terms of the way we do HR by telling our employees, managers, and leaders what to do, what's the solution, to accompanying them. They found this really powerful. The biggest impact has been a marked shift in the posture as well, from a fix it, as I said, from a fix it mindset to a strategic business partner mindset. And they left the program with a renewed confidence to ask powerful questions, trust the coaching process, and be a guide and partner with their stakeholders. So that's on the professional level. On the personal level, they said that all of them said they have increased their listening capabilities and ability to ask questions and open insightful conversations also in their personal life. As a leader, they said they are better team leaders with their employees. And in terms of benefits to the HR mission, in our capability model, now for HR, coaching posture occupies an important part. They're expected to act as people-centric, establish close contact with employees, know their aspirations, act as a trusted advisor, giving honest feedback. And on that, it's again nearly 90% recognizing this program having a major impact on their daily function. As a coach practitioner, they use the tools and skills that this improved their HR professionalism, and HR's diagnosis is more qualitative. They increase their ability to challenge the coaches. When we hire an external coach, they are now in a much better position to assess consistent coaching needs, benefits, exchange better with a professional coach, and this is also bringing higher value when we bring an external coach. So all in all, I think the value for our company is immensely positive, where HR is supporting the cultural change across the company, and where they support the leadership vision at this very strategic moment. Maybe
excellent. Thank you, Canan. I just love the work you've done on the ROI and the ROE. Really great. I might come over to Rosarii next in answer to the impact and benefits, Rosarii.
Linda, thank you very much. And thanks everyone for those wonderful questions that are coming through, trying to keep up with them. But anyway, hopefully we'll get to them. I think, Linda, for us, the biggest impact, and again, it's one that's hard to measure, but so important in the health service, was moving people away from transactional responses. So particularly when you are dealing with people at vulnerable times in their life, or the full life trajectory, having health service staff that are able to have those really good coaching conversations, the listening skills, the being present, and that it simply is not enough just to tick a box and send people away. And it has come up there in a question, I think, from Nina, and I might try and answer that through the course of my answer. We would have seen, I suppose, in terms of our employee survey, which is the staff survey, the engagement survey, we would have had 21,000 responses to that. But where the leaders of various sections in the organization had actually supported the development of a coaching culture, had integrated that into their teams, into their development plans, into new hires, into supporting staff on their whole career journey, the responses were much, much higher from the public who were the recipients of our services. Most particularly, I can think in terms of the maternity strategy survey. So individuals were after leaving our services, going home or whatever, but we could actually pinpoint where the coaching culture had been embedded. As I said, not a quick fix, not something you will do in 1 month, 2 months. This must be over a number of years, but certainly where there was that coaching, that openness, the listening, the presence, results from the recipients of our services across the board were markedly higher. So Nina, I hope that answers your question. And Linda as well, I suppose, in terms of some other observations that I would have had, an awful lot in health, and with people, we're human service, people service, an awful lot depends on negotiation. And certainly where managers had even given short programs on coaching skills for managers, the ability of staff to negotiate complex issues without resorting to raising formal grievances, without resorting to getting into formal complaints, grievances, etc. Again, it was a noticeable benefit. I would say as well, in terms of looking at the whole area around emotional intelligence, that the coaching works very, very well in supporting that. And again, the public know when they're dealing with a client or a doctor, a nurse, whatever the case may be, an administrator, they know when people are tuned in, when they're engaged, when they're really listening, particularly when we're giving some bad news. So again, right across the area would have observed those. And also as well, even in areas that would have been fraught with challenges, staff much more eager to participate as part of a solution. so that we all own the issue. This is not a case that we're going to send this problem upstairs or to the leader or whatever, but that's certain. And again, one of the areas we may come to it, the real benefit, I think the big benefit for us going forward is looking at team coaching. And really, and again, ICF is to the fore on this in terms of the team coaching competence, particularly in health. But that is an area that I can see really embedding and improving some of the massive benefits that we have seen.
Thank you, Rosarii. Like that point about team coaching, and we may have a micro credential coming soon too. I'll hand over now to Lieutenant Alya in terms of your impacts and benefits in Sharjah Police.
Well, actually, the impact of coaching in Sharjah Police, it was very positive, since after qualifying the officers as coaches in Sharjah Police, we've done many projects with them. For example, the MOI yearly sends us the employees' happiness indicator at every end of the year. And after getting the results of 2019, we started working with these coaches to do some focus groups for all our employees. We took some samples from each department and we sat with them in focus groups, leading by the coaches themselves. And also we did some one-to-one sessions with the employees to know how we can make our environment, the Sharjah Police environment, a better place for them, so that we could give them a happy place for them to produce also and give us and result good work. So after that, when we got the result of 2020, our employees' happiness indicator really rised up. And it was really a positive. And after also analyzing it, we realized that the coaching sessions that we did really affected our employees and really helped them know their way and know what really affects them and what really triggers them to give better work, to be happy at their environment and in their area of place. Moreover, as maybe most of you know, the police environment, it's all about rules and regulations. So it's all about yes, sir, no, sir. We don't have any other option. But after, introducing the coaching culture, now we started in the HR department to do some modifying in our rules and regulations. For example, usually if some of the employees, violated something and they have a violation, they go straight to police court. But now, after coaching and seeing the results of coaching, what we did is, if it's a simple violation, we don't take them to police court. We take them to one of our coaches and they sit with them in 5 sessions, and then we see the result. So now we're giving our employees, at least they trust us that we're not going to punish them right away. No, there is some sessions that we're going to have with them to know the reason, because sometimes the reason is not from the organization itself. Sometimes it's personal. So they feel now they are more connected. They are more as if we are a big happy family. They're not going to be punished right away. There are some other sessions that are going to happen, and they will be more also connected. So coaching really helped us to interact and connect more with our employees, rather than just having just rules and regulations that gives us this interaction. So basically, coaches gave us a more, let's say, a family environment rather than just a military environment.
Wow, that's a really big change, and I think listening to all 3 talking there, it's very much in line with that wider trend around humanizing workforces. That is the big message we're getting from the World Economic Forum. Davos for the first time put on its agenda employee well-being this year. So all this, what you're sharing and how a coaching culture and coaching initiatives actually add to humanizing our workplaces. So well done. Over to Catherine.
Yes, and to build on what you just said, Linda, and you all said, we are talking about trust. We are talking about humanization. We are talking also what is the motivation, the true motivation for the youngest, the millennials, and then the next generation arriving to the marketplace and trying to find a place to work. And that's not just a place to work. They want to work into a community of work. They want to find leaders that will help them to grow. They want to find cooperation and collaboration within teams. They want to have collective energy. They want to have meaningful environment and also values and ethics at work. So I do think all what we are saying together here is also underlying the trends for the future, not only the future of coaching, but also the future of work. And that leads me to the last question before we open the question and answer for the audience. It is, what is next for your organization, and what are the next steps when you arrived where you are? And maybe I'll give you back, Lieutenant Alya, the floor, because I was really very impressed by your last word about what it changed in terms of behavior. So what would be next for you?
Well, the next step for Sharjah Police is now focusing on the top of the pyramid, the top managers, directors of the pyramid of Sharjah Police. Now we're working on designing a program that joins leadership and coaching together for our managers, for our directors, so that we could, even if they didn't become a full coaches, but at least they know some of the competencies that they could use with their employees, because not all of the time you're a leader. You cannot just all the time just give orders and rules. Sometimes you need to sit with your employees, you need to listen from them, and that also, as I mentioned earlier, would help in the connection and communication with leaders and their employees. So we're working with some of the finest coaches from the ICF who are providers to this program. And we're designing it also in Arabic, as I mentioned earlier, because we want to reach a higher number of employees, since Arabic is our mother tongue. So we need to reach, we have around 8,000 employees. So we want to reach them all. So that's why we did it in Arabic. We want to reach everyone, so that everyone could benefit from it. And the second thing that I'm personally working on is building a policy. It's like a police coaching policy for Sharjah Police that we could benefit, and we could add it to all our other policies in Sharjah Police.
Wow, very, very remarkable. And thank you for sharing that. Really very meaningful, and not only for your employee, but we can imagine our impact you can have also on the society as a police.
For sure.
Yeah, sure. So maybe I'll handle the floor to Canan about what next at L'Oréal, and then Rosarii will comment on HECE.
Right. For us, there are two main next steps. One is for the HR population who have been trained in coaching tools for HR. This is the name of our program. So with the coaching tools for HR, we really lay the foundation of coaching and getting the skills on individual coaching aspects. But a lot of things are happening on the team side. Cooperation, network organization, integrating leaders, now remote work. So we have been actually working on developing a team coaching training, which we'll name it like team intervention training. So it's building the extra layer for the HR leaders to be better accompany and support the teams. And we're starting the pilot actually next week. That's really the right time to now focus on and it's very similar to what the other panelists have shared. So that's for HR. When it comes to leaders, I said at the beginning, this training has been pivotal in strengthening the coaching culture, or really helping us to build a strong coaching culture. And HR takes the lead. But coaching culture is not only HR's job. So we are now deploying, it's going to be a shorter version, a coaching essentials training for business leaders, for managers, for them to act as coaches. And the good thing is, it's not us HR going and offering it to the managers, them also coming and asking for such a training, because we see the coaching skills are now relevant for leaders as a lever to accelerate the speed of change in new leadership behaviors and empower their people. At L'Oréal, expect our managers to empower more and more, enable more and more their employees, make them find their own solutions instead of saying what to do, act with empathy. So we believe they will better walk the talk by being equipped with coaching essentials. And the more the managers develop themselves, the more they can grow a nourished relation with their employees. So that will be our key to next steps.
Wow, so very meaningful next steps from both. Rosarii, can you in 3 minutes, because I'm conscious of the time and I want to have open some questions also, can you tell us about your next steps?
Sure. Thanks, Catherine. I suppose it's building on what Canan has just said. I think the leadership context is changing and the leadership models of the past present very little guidance for the future, with the exception of the coaching framework that's looking at enabling, empowering, moving us all, but in particularly Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z, they're coming into the organization. Well, Gen X are moving on now, I'm a Gen Xer myself. But certainly looking at that more empowered, that more networking, moving away from hierarchical organizations. COVID-19 has progressed that, I think, at speed when we look at the number of staff that are now availing of remote working, that may be working singularly or whatever. And I think there is a huge role for coaching there in terms of making sure employees don't become isolated, that they're not alone, that they are supported. That would be the big thing I would see across the HR community, not only in the HSE, but I think that we must invest and attend to those relationships much more so than we have. Just want to have the floor as well, a big shout out to all health service staff across the globe, not only in the HSE, who have really got us through the pandemic COVID-19, and in particular a shout out to our friends and colleagues in India who are suffering at the moment. But in terms of the coaching, Catherine, summary, investment in team coaching, refocus the energy on the relationships and focus on networks. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Collective team coaching and collective coaching, and really empowering every employee, taking care of many people inside and outside of the companies, and obviously health in these pandemic times have been under major stress and need to be supported. And we can also congrats many coaches that have been involved themselves in pro bono activities to support frontline workers and health workers and doctors and nurses also in this period. So maybe we are arriving to a conclusion. Linda, you want to share some thought about coaching cultures and some observation on what we have done at ICF before I handle the floor to Isabel for the questions?
Thanks, Catherine. Well, first of all, I find all the stories, the case studies we've had with our three speakers, they're very inspiring, and they just encourage us all as coaches, to do more and just open us up to the potential and possibility of coaching. And I think in the context of the diversity and inclusion conversation, which is huge now, and I think at some level, the pandemic has put diversity even into more focus. And what we can see and we know is that coaching supports diversity and inclusion. And again, I think as coaches, it's something we have to even create greater competency in that area. I also agree with our speakers that the world of leadership is changing. And I think that the competency models and frameworks that a lot of organizations have had, what I'm learning from my clients is that they're beginning to relook at those, and that compassion, for instance, compassionate leadership. Someone else mentioned servant leadership in the chat, and agility, agile leadership. These are hugely important. And the thing is that coaching is so compatible with all of those modalities. And the final point that I picked up from our three speakers really is that ICF often talks about the coaching continuum, and that in our community of about 90,000 coaches worldwide, that on the one hand, we have external coaches like many of us on this call. On the other hand, we have internal coaches like many of us on this call. And then we will have a group of people that we call managers and leaders using coaching skills. And what strikes me is that in most of the case studies, that the organizations have leveraged all the three modalities in order to create the impact that they needed. So well done to everybody. And with that, I'll go back over to Isabel, who's monitoring our chat and the questions.
Thank you so much, Linda and Catherine, for the facilitation. I have a question that is actually addressed to the three panelists. So it's the same question for the three of you. What was the greatest challenge in creating a coaching culture in your organization? And how did you overcome this challenge?
I'll kick off, Isabel. Apologies, the dog is barking behind me here. I think for me, the biggest challenge was the scale of the organization and also the number of multiple subcultures. So even within a hospital, you might think, well, this is the culture. But when you go to theatre or you go to portraining or you go into the canteen, you would find an entirely different culture. So I suppose it's just the context, so important, the complexity, so important as well to understand that, and I suppose taking more time than you might initially anticipate. That was the biggest challenge I found.
Thank you. Lieutenant Alya, do you want to share any of the challenge you faced?
I think it's a small challenge maybe that we faced, that coaching was a very new term or a new culture in our organization, because when you say coaching, most of the people would say, oh, it's like counseling, it's mentoring, etc., etc. But to prove that coaching is a different world all by itself, I had to do it practically. I had to first qualify these 20 people and do some sessions for the directors, not for employees, for directors, just to make them see what is coaching and how it's done and what's the result out of it. So we had to coach most of our directors and our managers just to make them know the idea how it comes. And when they realized that it's a different thing than what they thought, they gave us the full support to continue with our program.
Thanks a lot, Lieutenant Alya. What about you, Canan?
For us being employee-centric and people proximity being important in L'Oréal was something helpful in building the coaching culture. But when it comes to build, one definition of this culture, that was maybe the difficult part, because if you're talking to HR people, everyone has its own coaching definition, coaching practice, until you put them into the same training, into the same framework. It was really convincing them, maybe somehow similar to Lieutenant Alya's case, convincing them, saying, this program is going to help us to build a common language, a common approach to coaching. It was really bringing them to the training, and after that, once they experienced, they were delighted and they were spreading the word for others. But it was the start.
Thank you very much. Well, I have another question for the three of you. Who do you think should be certified? Leaders, HR team, managers, and what are the criteria or eligibility to be certified?
Maybe I can pick this up first. When we said we are doing this certification training for HR is not acting as internal coaches. They are using coaching tools, skills in their HR job, but they are not acting as an external coach. And for us, it is more HR to be certified, because they are the central point when it comes to establishing the culture, putting in place the coaching practices, prescribing coaching solutions, and they are serving both employees, teams, and they need to be in a more objective position. For managers, we have some senior leaders coming and joining our certification program, but we do it very selectively. depends on the role, scope, maturity of the leader. For the others, our approach is running a shorter version of coaching training. If any leader wants to continue their coaching journey to get certified, then we will help them to fulfill this aspiration. But to sum it up, for us, it's more HR, at least to start with, who needs to be certified.
Thank you, Canan.
I'll hop in there if that's okay. Isabel, I have it in the chat, but I'm a real believer in certification. And just to say as well, the real competitive advantage that we have as ICF coaches is credentialing. And, you know, as colleagues have said on the panel, it mightn't be essential for everyone to be certified, but at least if people are on that journey, if they have that awareness, they can eliminate and alleviate some of the confusion in the market. Because we are dealing with people's lives, as I said, sometimes when they're at the most vulnerable. And it's really important that coaches are trained, they're credentialed, and in my view that they are certified and that they have that badge, if you like, of quality that we all get with ICF. So I think that is important.
Thank you, Rosarii. Do you want to add anything, Lieutenant Alya?
Yes, I think for us, directors and managers, if they want to get credentialed, I think that's their part. But for us, what we need from them is to know at least what is coaching and what are some of the competencies that they need in their day-and-day, you know, role and work and this organization. But for us, when we chose who are the people that we want to be credentialed, we were very specific. We had a couple of criteria to choose people, let's say one from each department. And then after interviewing them, we chose the people that we know that we're going to benefit from for all our employees, because as Canan said, the HR, they cannot do the whole job of coaching. So that's why we took some people from each department, and they are working with us to reach the goal that the HR wants to reach.
Thank you, Lieutenant. I have actually a question for you regarding Sharjah Police. How long did it take to the managers or the top after they experienced coaching to give their consent to the coaching program?
Well, actually, I started first with my manager, with my director in the HR department. I started with her. I started coaching her for a couple of 3 sessions. And after that, she said, you know what, go ahead with whatever you're doing. I'm feeling great. I like what you're doing. And then we started with a couple of other directors. Some of them, it took with them a little bit longer than the other, but most of them, they were happy from the first or 2 sessions. They liked the idea and they felt some, at least minor results. So especially that our chief manager of Sharjah Police, he really focuses on impact and results. So when I tried it with him as well, he said, you know what, just go ahead. I want to see results. I like what you're doing, and just go ahead. So it didn't take a lot of time.
Thank you. And then I think I'll wrap up with the last question. And thank you so much. We're not able to answer all of them, but I think that's a very nice one to end up with is how far are we away from having a chief coaching officer in the business world? And what can we do to speed up that becoming a reality? So that would be for the 3 of you.
I'll kick off. I hope it happens immediately. I'd be delighted to see it. And I suppose in terms of speeding it up, it should be prioritized as an essential post in the people strategy. It's also a post that would fund itself, so it wouldn't be an additional cost. I'm confident if you appointed a chief coaching officer, that salary would more than pay for itself within 3 months. Okay.
Thank you, Rosarii. Canan, do you want to add something to that?
We don't call it a chief coaching officer, but we have built some bodies like coaching committee and coaching practice leader to act like a chief coaching officer. So I don't think in our case it was possible to wait. It's more putting in place some bodies to act like a chief coaching officer. So we are embarking on that journey.
Thank you, Canan. And I'll leave the floor again to Lieutenant Alya.
Well, I agree with Rosarii and Canan. I think we really need to have someone as a chief officer to at least it's going to have its own benefit as well. If we have it as soon as possible, we have someone with all the qualities and all the qualifications, then why not?
Thank you so much. I really invite you all and speakers and participants to have a look in the chat, because there are plenty of great insights and feedback. So I really want to take this opportunity to thank you, panelists. So Lieutenant Alya, thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you, Canan from L'Oreal. Thank you, Rosarii, for the great insight. Thank you, Catherine and Linda, for helping facilitating this very first session of our ICW pre-launch series hosted by ICF Professional Coaches. ICW starts only officially next Monday, May the 17th, up to May the 23rd. And we have more than 800 events in 23 languages available for you on our new ICW events platform that you can find at icf-events.org. So feel free to register to any other session. Really enjoy this week of celebration. Help us celebrate the impact and the power of coaching during this week. Spread the word to the world. I'm sorry, Catherine, Linda, if you want to say a closing word, this is the time to do that.
Just be inspired and spread the word that coaching culture make a difference.
Thank you.
And a big thank you, Isabel and Haitham, who's supporting here today, to our three speakers and to all of you for attending. And together we're stronger, and let's go forward and spread the word. We can do it together.
Absolutely. And just as a last logistic point, the session has been recorded. So the session will also be posted on our ICW platform. That is going to become an archived platform after this 2021 edition. So you'll also be able to get back to lots of recorded session all along the year until we launch the next ICW 2022. So stay with us. Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll see you on another session. Our next pre-launch webinar is on Wednesday at same time, 3 p.m. CT Paris time, with IKEA, with another insight of great implementation of coaching culture in a big company. So maybe see you then. Enjoy your time. Have a great day, evening, morning, wherever you are in the world. And thank you for being all with us today.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.